Hi there, and thanks for joining us for the SkanFest podcast. This is an interview series for the Skaneateles Festival, a summer concert series based in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. I'm your host, Joe Lee. This year, the festival is presenting its 47th season. That's right, we've been around for quite a while and doing fantastic things, and we're looking forward to having you join us this summer. On the podcast, we spend time getting to know our visiting artists who travel the world making music of the highest caliber. Two of the most decorated bluegrass fiddlers will join forces at SkanFest this year. Jason Carter is a multiple Grammy Award winner and five-time IBM Fiddle Player of the Year recipient and veteran band leader. And Michael Cleveland is a Grammy Award winner and nominee and 12-time Fiddle Player of the Year recipient. Carter and Cleveland will perform both new and classic bluegrass songs this August 15th and 16th. Thanks to you both for joining us.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much.
A combined 17 Fiddle Player of the Years between the two of you. It's safe to say that's like dominance. Is that like dominance in the fiddle world?
I think it was from Michael.
I don't know.
Man,
I was there the first time. The first time you won Fiddle Player of the Year was the first time. I think IBMA was in Louisville, Kentucky, and I remember sitting out in the audience there at the Kentucky Center for the Arts when you won for the first time, and I just thought,
you were watching a nervous fiddler. I can promise you that, Mike.
Oh man. Shakiest bow in the West.
It begs the question. You guys had to be at times going up against each other. Was there any smack talk going on? Any trash talk?
Oh man, no, I don't think so.
No, bluegrass is it's like a really small town or a huge family. Everybody knows each other, but everybody, it's like we're all working on different things and we're all trying to see each other succeed. And, there is some competitive. I think in order to be a musician, you have to be competitive in some respects. But, as far as the awards and all that, the highest honor to me anyway is to be nominated. And if you actually get to win, that means that your peers in the industry have voted you to win. So that's a high honor in itself. That there's fans that vote in the music and festival promoters, but also like the musicians and heroes that we look up to, they all vote on that stuff too. So it's really cool.
One thing is everybody that's nominated in that category, in any of these categories for the Bluegrass Awards or the Grammy Awards for the Bluegrass, they're like our best friends.
Okay.
So it's like the way I look at all that every year too is like, it's always nice if you do win for sure, but if you don't, it's like one of your best friends like getting it's their time to shine, so it's kind of nice to see.
So you can't help but feel happy for them.
Absolutely. It's a win-win either way,
Right.
For us,
and I would imagine it's a win-win for the instrument and the music.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because every year there should be, I wish there's so many people who don't even get the nomination, and they're very deserving because there's so many great players out there, and I don't know really how that works, but there's so many great players that I feel that they should have not even been nominated. They should have won already, So
right.
Anyway.
So you both are giants on this instrument. How did you come together? What was the conversation like that brought this dynamic duo together in the same room?
Cleve, you want to take it?
Sure. I met Jason around 1993, 94. I think I was like 13 or 14 years old. And I had heard his playing on a recording a live tape of Melvin and Ray, the Goins brothers, live in Chicago at the Chicago Folklore University or something like that. I probably still got the tape somewhere, but I, yeah, the mandolin player in the Goins brothers told me about Jason at the time. You need to listen to this guy. He's a great fiddle player, and he's gonna get even better, and this and that. So I heard that, and then uh there was a band that I was in of young players all around the same age, 12, 13, 14 years old. And one of them was Josh Williams, who went on to play guitar with Rhonda Vincent and mandolin, kind of a multiple instrument guy, and played with quite a few bands, including Rhonda Vincent and Tony Rice, and made a name for himself in bluegrass. But, back then we were all kids, and Josh's dad put on this bluegrass show in Benton, Kentucky, where Josh lived. And he had us open for the Del McCoury band. And that was when the first time I met Jason and the first time I'd heard Del McCoury live that wasn't on just a tape or something like that. And there's something about Del. And I've told this to many people, and they hear it on record or tape, and they're like, I don't know. Then they go see it live, and it's just one of those bands, man. It's just like when you see it for the first time and hear it, and the sound that those guys make as a band and individually it just blew my mind, even as a kid. And Jason was part of that. And, I could tell just by hearing him play that he was into the same guys that I was. He was further along musically than I was, but we were both into Benny Martin and Kenny Baker and Bobby Hicks and, Vassar and all the, and so we met then, and I guess we kept in touch a little bit, but then as I got older, graduated high school, started playing out on the scene more, we would run into each other, not as much at first, and then it seemed like more so around, late 2000, 8 or 9, something like that. We were playing some of the same festivals, and he would say, "Man, get up, play some with Dell or the Traveling McCurries," and we wouldn't have any chance to rehearse. We wouldn't know what we were going to play. We'd just get up there and, whatever song it was, whether it was Bill Monroe classic or one of Del McCurry's songs or fiddle tune, we just kind of had to do twin fiddles on the spot, which is not, it's like singing with somebody you never sang with before. But the thing was, we had listened to most of the same stuff. And so, like, it was just so easy to play twin with Jason because I've listened to him play so much. And, we both kind of had this background with all these other fiddle players. So it was just like, it was much easier to twin with him than it would be to just jump up there with somebody from a different background or whatever, and it worked. And I remember saying one time, "Man, what would it be like if we could actually rehearse?" And then we started talking about all the fiddle albums that we loved and all the twin fiddle albums, and why aren't people doing twin fiddle albums anymore? So you got, the people that we listened to were like Kenny Baker and Bobby Hicks. There's a great album of theirs called Darkness on the Delta. And Kenny Baker and Blaine Sprouse did a great twin fiddle album called Indian Springs. And then we had Buddy Spiker and Benny Martin, two of our
Oh yeah.
heroes. Buddy and Vassar did a great twin fiddle album. And so we got
Mm-hmm.
to talking about all this, and we talked about it for about 15 years. And
Wow.
finally, I think Jason was the one that it was during about the time COVID, people were starting to get out and do things again. And he said, we just need to book a session and start on this. And if we don't, we're never going to do it. And so we cut like we cut one song, and then about a year later, we cut a couple more, and it just kind of went from there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's always fun to play with Jason for sure.
Jason, Michael makes an interesting point about when you're first getting together, similar to two singers getting up there, really not, knowing how it's going to mesh. When you got together, what kind of conversation was happening on stage between the two fiddles? How did you guys approach it to make it actually
Man,
come together and harmonious?
man, what I can remember, we literally just got up on stage and started playing, and that was
Oh
Mm-hmm.
kind of
yeah.
like that was kind of the way it was like in Dale's band. We didn't rehearse for anything. If we did, it would be like when we recorded a record,
Mm-hmm.
and that would be the only time we would rehearse. So when Michael got up there, I always say, I always kind of felt like he knew what I was going to play before I played it,
Mm-hmm.
and some of those like traditional songs. Well, I think we both just have a love for that music so much, and we knew what the solos were, or there was like certain licks that the whoever was playing fiddle on the record played that we
Mm-hmm.
just loved, and it's kind of Michael knew I was going to play that.
Mm-hmm.
If there was a signature lick or something, or the way the solo went, he knew how it was going to be. I think anyway, and it seemed that way, and
So
yeah, I
that
mean.
familiarity with the music is what allowed you guys to really have that musical
I
conversation that was
I think so.
coherent. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we might have been on stage and said, "All right, well, so we'll back up this one and
Mm-hmm.
or back up this verse, or we'll play this break, or something like that." But you know, uh, it was kind of known what part of the song, and yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
just uh, I think he knew what I was going to play
Yeah.
before I played it. You know?
I find
Yeah.
that just fascinating when you bring two talents together and it just
Yeah.
works and works naturally. Um,
Yeah, it is, but it is because we listen to the same stuff.
yeah.
We're fans of the same people, and we that's the music that we love, and we try to imitate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's yeah,
I'm going to jump back a little bit and talk about how each of you got started in music. I
yeah,
know both at a very early age. Jason, let's start with you. What's
yeah.
sort of your music origin story?
Man, I started playing guitar when I was 8 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and how that come about was there was a guy that came to my house, and his son was a little bit older than me, and he he told my dad, he said, "Hey, I want you to hear my boy play guitar,"
Mm-hmm.
and I thought it was just incredible that this kid was playing. And when they left, I asked my dad if he would teach me how to play guitar, and he's
Mm-hmm.
like, "Yeah, sure." And then the next time the guy come over to the house, I was the one that was getting to play for them. So it was really cool. But then I went on and I played guitar, and I've tried to play, and I played music with my dad for a long time. We had bands together,
Mm-hmm.
and I listened to Tony Rice was a huge influence for me. And then I heard Del McCurry, and when I heard Del, everything kind of changed for
Mm-hmm.
me. And I was probably 15, and I always say when you're a kid, people ask you what you're going to do when you get out of school.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say I'm going to play with Del McCurry. And I guess I got to saying this so much that my dad finally told me, he said, son, that Dale plays guitar. He's not going to hire you to play guitar. And his sons play mandolin and banjo. And he
Hmm.
said, so if you really want to play in that band, you're going to have to play fiddle or bass. And we
Interesting.
and we had a fiddle at the house, so I
Hmm.
started playing. I picked up the fiddle, because I had played mandolin too,
Hmm.
uh, and it notes the same as the fiddle. So that's how I started playing fiddle. My dad started me off with a couple fiddle tunes,
Hmm.
and then I just did like a deep dive. It would have been Tony Rice's music and all of Del McCurry's music, what I
Hmm.
tried to learn. And I would just try to learn by listening to the records and playing along and trying to make it sound like what whoever was playing played,
Hmm.
And some things I was able to pick up and then it took a while, you know.
Was
But
there a? I mean, was there a hint of, or did you know you had some natural talent before you
oh
you said teach me how to play this? I mean, was there? Did
no,
that just come
I
out of the blue?
yeah, yeah, it just, yeah, I saw that kid do that, and that made me want to do it,
Wow.
made me want to play. And then whenever I got that guitar in my hands and started playing, and I was able to play a song and figure out chords, and it was pretty cool,
Hmm.
It was, yeah,
Nice.
and that's kind of all I wanted to do at that time.
Hmm.
After that, I played sports and stuff, and we would play ball around the neighborhood and in school, but man, I can remember getting up early before school and like getting my guitar and
Hmm.
playing, and like I would be thinking about stuff in school, and I would get in trouble because I would be tapping my fingers on the desk, like trying to figure out a solo or something. That's what I would be thinking about, and I'd kind of get in a little trouble for that. But
Uh-huh.
and school I tell you what, man, school for me, I remember. My school was Greenup County High School, which sits along Route 23, which is the country music highway that goes through Kentucky. But anyway, I remember seeing like the Lewis family's bus, Ralph Stanley's bus, the Osborne brothers' bus
Hmm.
going down the road, the Goins brothers, and like I would be looking out the window at the road, and I would see this tour bus, and it'd be like have Ralph Stanley's name on the side of it, and I would think, man, how do I get out of this school and get on one of those buses? I've got to do this.
I can
Be
see
careful
it.
what you wish for.
I can see it. I can see it. Michael, what about you? What was your tell us a little bit about your origin story.
Well, none of my family play at all,
Hmm.
but my grandparents had gotten into bluegrass music a few years before I was born,
Hmm.
and they were going to a place that was going to stop having music, and it was more like a folk kind of jam, and I guess they got to talking to some people who went to this, and they said, we kind of like to play some bluegrass music and have something specifically for bluegrass. And my grandparents were so into the music, even though they didn't play, that they
Hmm.
started a bluegrass show in
Wow.
Henryville, Indiana. And they were both retired, and they put a lot into it. I mean, they would uh they started this thing, and it happened every second fourth Saturday of the month. And it'd be like a little stage show, open stage thing where if you had a band or if you put together a band just for players who were there, you could sign up and play a 30-minute slot,
Hmm.
and they would have bands going all the way from the show actually started at 7, and they would have bands every 30 minutes from 7 until 11, 11:30, sometimes after. And I mean, there'd be times you couldn't get everybody on just because it was that many people showing up at this thing. And then aside from the stage shows, there'd be all kinds of jamming going on. It was at a American Legion Hall, and there'd be the show going on in the main room on stage, and then there'd be couple of bands trying to jam down there in the basement, and they get in one corner or another, and sometimes it was hard to hear down there. And then
Mm-hmm.
you had a practice room where the band who was getting ready to go on, they'd be back there tuning up. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and if it was nice outside, there'd be picking out there, and that would start around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. People would start getting there, and so I was just like, they started taking me when I was super little.
Mm-hmm.
I just always remember being around it, and there were other shows going on in the area. My grandparents loved it so much they put on this thing, and then on the other Saturdays they'd go to the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
A few miles away. There'd be one at Scottsburg, Indiana, and there'd be one in Madison, uh, and then just whatever local bluegrass shows were happening, and they
Mm-hmm.
just loved it. So when I always liked the music and loved listening to it. I think I was really big into Rocky Top for a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
then I heard the fiddle player play the Orange Blossom Special, and that was the thing that just like, I've got to learn how to play the fiddle. I was 4 years old. I don't
Mm.
remember anything about being 4 years old other than hearing that
Right.
and thinking, I've got to learn how to do this. And so I started school that year at the Kentucky School for the Blind in Louisville, Kentucky, and they had a classical strings program, and actually had a really good music program, all kinds of band instruments and great rock band and all this kind of stuff. But my parents signed me up for violin lessons,
Mm-hmm.
and it was classical. Taught the Suzuki method of violin all by ear, and I walk into the classroom when I'm 4 years old, and the teacher, Mrs. Nolan, said, "Well, what are you're here to learn the violin. What is it about the violin?" I said, "Well, I don't know much about the violin, but I know a lot about the fiddle." And she said, "Oh, really?" I said, "Yeah, I want to learn how to play bluegrass music, and I want to learn the Orange Blossom Special."
Wow.
And they were not too happy with that for a while. But, you know, um, but yeah, she said that'll be a while. And it was, it was kind of slow going for me to
Mm-hmm.
actually get to the point where I could play something. It might have been a year or two.
Hmm.
And uh
Now, I wonder if that is surprising to people because in watching the documentary on you and doing some research, you've been touted as a child prodigy, and when
well,
someone
yeah, and everybody
when
says that. And I've
yeah,
heard all these people say, about some musician or other, yeah, they just picked it up and started
right,
playing.
but
And
but
maybe
you
that's
but
the case, but it wasn't the case for me.
that's not the way
And
you remember it. You had to put in the work.
well, yeah, because I mean, like now once I did get to a certain point where I could make sounds that weren't so god awful, you just had to run away from it. Once I got to where I could play just a little bit, it seemed like I really started making some headway. But it's I think it's a slow process for anybody. But I think the main thing was that I wanted to do it so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like all these parents of kids will come up to me and how long should I make my kid practice? Should it be 2-3 hours a day? What's and it's like, man, some days I wouldn't play at all, and that some
Mm-hmm.
days if I was working on something, I'd play all day. So it
Mm-hmm.
just really, uh, but it was really down to the fact that I wanted to do it so bad. It was all I thought about. It's like Jason in school and
Mm-hmm.
seeing those buses go by and thinking about tunes and keeping time on the desk. I mean, I had that
Yeah.
same thing that I just couldn't not do it.
Right. Now, I think that's an important note to make, because I think there are a lot of assumptions out there, particularly when it comes to musicians who were born without sight, that there's this sort of natural ability that just falls out of the sky. But yeah, you have to put in work just like everyone else, and it's paying off. And Jason, I was listening to Outrun the Rain the other day,
Yeah.
and the richness of your voice. And when did you discover that you had singing talent? I mean, you're talking here now, and the voice is just booming, right? So people would imagine that you would be a broadcaster or a vocalist. But when did you discover that you had some singing capability?
Man, I don't know. I tried to sing when I was a kid, and I played guitar and sang lead with my dad in a band when I was in high school. My voice was probably a little higher then than what it is now. But I don't know. It's like I sang all through the years I was with the Del McCurry band, just not a lot,
Okay.
and there was no need for me to do that because my role was to play fiddle, it wasn't to be a singer,
Right.
and I didn't really have an outlet for that. Uh, what I tell you, Michael gave me a lot of confidence in singing because he hired me to sing on his records
Mm.
before anybody. I think no, I don't even know if anybody knew that I sang other than a bass part or a baritone part with Dell.
And see,
Um,
that blows my mind because, anytime I would hear, because, I mean, you would sing you know, what is it about what a waste of good corn liquor, and then you
oh
would
yeah,
sing,
yeah,
but I mean, you would sing these Betty Martin tunes, or, I remember you singing Ernest Tubbs' Half of
oh
Mine,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, even then, it was like, this guy's a great singer. And
Oh man,
so I, we recorded one of those Betty Martin. I think it was "Where's Your Heart Tonight." We were both into that tune, and Betty Martin fans, and I thought it would be cool for Jason to sing it, and it was great. And then when we put it out, so many people are like, "Man, I didn't know Jason sang." I was like, "Really? Where have you been?"
And no lessons. You had no lessons?
I wish I did.
Wow.
I've been thinking about taking some actually.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Just
It
to,
doesn't sound like you need it, but
yeah, it couldn't hurt.
if it takes you
I
to
don't
another
think.
level, so be it.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
violin is such a versatile instrument, and I'm embarrassed to tell you, gentlemen, that I actually took violin lessons in elementary school, and they
Yeah.
asked me to leave. They
Well,
and
they
I think it
asked
was
me to leave a couple times too, because
Yeah.
I get in
they were
trouble for not playing the right bowings and stuff.
uh-huh.
Yeah, they
I
they would
was I
ask
was
me to leave.
sulking. I was sulking because I wanted to take drum lessons, and they said
Ah,
Oh yeah.
that part
Right,
was
right.
all filled, and this is what you get.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
right.
so I was terrible. But the technical ability that you need to make this instrument sing the way that you do, and Michael, you are known for speed and technical prowess. When I listen to you play, my mind can't even keep up with the notes that you're playing. What's going through your mind as you're improvising on stage?
Boy, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, most of the time I'm thinking in terms of notes and how they fit into chords, and I mean, I guess I'm just thinking all kinds of. See, I've never been a good theory person. I don't know.
Hmm.
I mean, I think I play all this stuff because I've heard it and learned it, and kind of fallen into my own thing. But I couldn't tell you anything about pentatonic scales or
Hmm.
Dorian or any of the, like, I know what a blues scale is, obviously a major scale, probably some kind of pentatonic thing. But I mean, the stuff that I play is based on, you know, oh, this is something that Kenny Baker did, or this is something that I that I came up with and tried to put my own thing to that I was influenced by, like I don't, I think more of note choices and
Mm,
sounds. Uh, but yeah, in the moment when you're playing it, it's like another, it, it's like speaking,
mm-hmm.
but it's another language entirely. And it's really hard to say what actually goes through my mind other than, trying to figure out what would best fit the song or what I'm, like a lot of times I'll hear somebody else play something that'll,
Mm-hmm.
like I do have a lot of things that I play kind of the same way, but also, I might hear Jason play something or, Cody or somebody, and it inspires me to do something else that I've
Mm-hmm.
never done before, which
Okay.
is kind of risky, but in bluegrass, especially, a lot of this stuff isn't written out. Like you can buy fiddle tune books that have the melody of these tunes, but a lot of your bag of tricks comes from stuff that you've learned from your heroes and other great fiddle players. But then it is it's like jazz or any other kind of
Mm-hmm.
music. It's a language all of its own.
Yeah. I was going to make the analogy, or I do make the analogy when I listen to you. It was said of Charlie Parker a lot that he plays faster than most people think, and that's kind of the way I think when I listen to you play. It's like you're
Well,
playing faster than I can even think about this stuff.
yeah, and I mean, the thing is, I mean, fast isn't everything. There's
Right.
a lot of people that can play fast, and it's equally as hard to play super slow.
Mm-hmm.
So like I guess I'm known for being a fast fiddle player, but I don't, I think everything has a tempo and everything
Mm-hmm.
has a groove that it should be, and some things are meant to be played fast. And if it's a fast tune, I want to play it that way. But if it's Sally Gooden or something that's good chugging mid tempo tune, I don't believe that's a fast tune in my
Mm-hmm.
mind. So like I try to play. I love playing fast. It's one of the things that I always wanted to do because I listened to the old school bands that all played that way. But,
Right.
it doesn't fast doesn't mean good
Right. Right.
always.
No, no. It's just as I'm not a musician, so it's even when I'm playing with a saxophone or at a piano and I'm tinkering out some notes, I'm just amazed at people that have the musical language in their head that allows them to even get something out at a quick tempo like that. With our time left, I do want to talk a little bit about your Grammy-nominated Carter and Cleveland album that was nominated, I believe, in 2025. I'm curious as to how you guys approached putting the album together, the concept, the song selections. Jason, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Man, well, like Michael said earlier, it kind of, we talked and we were like, we have to just book a session to get started on this, and so we did, and we had a couple tunes uh, that we recorded, and I know I started like calling different songwriters, and like I texted Daryl Scott and Tim O'Brien, and and they sent songs, and they turned out to be perfect, I thought, for our record. And I had a couple others in mind, and then me and Cleve, we just kind of like went through back and forth with different songs to
Mm-hmm.
record, and that's kind of how it came about,
Mm-hmm.
At first, I think we were thinking about like doing a twin fiddle record that would be mostly fiddle tunes,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. I think part of the deal, we kind of probably thought that it might be easier to get airplay if we had vocal tunes,
Mm-hmm.
some of that, would be, and we could do like a mix, half and half, or half singing, half instrumentals. And uh, my buddy David Greer had a song. He he kept telling me, I think this would be a really good twin fiddle song. And so he played it for me, and I sent it to Michael, and it was the song Arapaho. And it turned out to be it sounds like a classic uh, fiddle tune, so it worked out perfect. Um, yeah,
Okay.
that's kind of how it came about,
I
and we
think we
just,
both, uh, we talked about the Twin Fiddle albums, and we definitely wanted to be true to that. But
yeah,
it seemed like Jason was singing a lot more, and I'm not just saying it because he's here or whatever. I mean, he is one of my favorite singers, and so we have both talked about that we liked fiddle albums, but like our favorite instrumental albums also had vocals on them, and the vocals were just as meaningful to us. So I think we we wanted to stay true to the twin fiddle thing, but make more than just an instrumental album.
Right.
Like we wanted to make an album that could probably potentially go beyond that. And with Jason singing, and these songs, he was talking about messaging Daryl Scott and Tim O'Brien and all these people, which uh the 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 time it took to find all these great songs, it's usually like a needle in a haystack. Like you're listening to
yeah,
countless demos and recordings, and trying to find a good song, or maybe it is a good song, but it just doesn't suit you, you know.
right,
So, but it seemed like all of a sudden we had these great songs, and it's like, how can it be this easy? Like,
Right.
and when you got people like not only great songwriters, but some of your heroes in the music sending you these songs, and they were just perfect for Jason's voice and for twin fiddle arrangements. So it
yeah.
just came together
Nice.
so naturally, which was
Very
cool.
good.
The
Well,
the tune "Outrun the Rain," was written by Terry Hurd and Jimmy Yeary, and they sent us this tune, and I think it's kind of a cool story that Michael told me. It was I think after we recorded it, but he told me that he had a dream about like the fiddle lick in the front of this tune, and he's wanting something to sound like rain falling, and we did this descending lick. Uh, but I thought it was kind of cool too how he came through with like with the arrangement of the tune as well, and we have like a little uh, short jammy section in there, and he also had the idea for a trio that was stacked high, like two above the lead, and having a lady sing the high part, and uh, so it was really nice to have. Uh, I feel lucky just to be able to, be in the same room making music with Michael, and he everything that he brought to the table with that song.
That's
I don't know,
fantastic. Yeah.
shows his uh, I don't know, just not only what he is as a great musician, but like a producer as well, you know. And
Very cool.
I thought it was really cool how
I
that one
couldn't
came
sing it
about.
though. If I tried
Yeah.
to sing it, people would leave.
Yeah, you know what? I would disagree with you, Mike. I think you're a great singer.
That's my
Uh,
that's my that's my saying. When I sing, people leave.
We
Let
got a
let's put
walking
that
ovation.
let's put that to the test. Let's put that to the test. Well,
Yeah.
enough about you guys. I want to talk about us. You're coming to Skaneateles. We are looking forward to seeing you. Who are you going to bring with you? Who's going to be a part of the band?
Oh,
What?
let's see. Mike Bubb will be on bass. He's a former Del McCurry band member. He was played in the band in the early '90s. Whenever I joined the band first, and Mike joined a couple months later, and he was there with me for 13 years. But he'll be playing bass. At least I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't quit, did he?
No, no, no.
No,
Who else?
Jake
Jake Stargell,
Stargell.
maybe? Yeah.
Jake Stargell on guitar. See, this is it's not, I mean, we've been able to do quite a few shows together, but it's not
Mhm.
like that we're touring extensively and can keep the same people every
Yeah.
time. But we have
Okay.
a lot of friends that we call for these that, so it'll be Mike Bubb on bass, as Jason said, Jake Stargell
Mhm.
on guitar, and Josh Gooding on mandolin, who plays in Jason's band, and then the guy who plays banjo with me, Cody Looper, he'll be playing.
Nice. And
It's a
what
smoking band. Those guys are incredible. All of those
Yeah,
guys are
it's
incredible
fun.
musicians.
it sounds
Yeah.
like it. What in terms of the music, what can festival goers expect? What are you going to be playing?
There'll be a lot of fiddle, I can tell you that.
We're gonna,
No,
yeah.
if you
Hopefully,
don't like fiddle, you don't want to come to
You
this.
don't show up.
yeah.
No, we're gonna be playing a lot of the stuff from the album, and then
Okay.
just some other things that uh from the traditional bluegrass side of things, and then some things from maybe the more jam grass side of it. So it'll be
Okay.
and plenty of fiddle music.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Jason Carter and Michael Cleveland will be with us for a performance, accompanied by a full band on August 15th at Anyela's Vineyards, and then a duo engagement with limited seating at Mandana Barn on August 16th. To learn more about the 47th season and to buy tickets, please visit www.skanfest.org. Thanks again, Jason and Michael. It was a true pleasure chatting with you guys. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
y'all for
man. Thanks
having
for,
us.
yeah. Thanks again. Yeah.
We look forward to seeing you.